So now let's have a look at some successful examples associated with our call to action. First, school culture events, which give the opportunities for students and families to share food. Some schools in America held after-school programs for families, encouraging them to cook with locally grown ingredients and bring the food to school and share with others. Second, agricultural events held by schools and associations. So many gardening events are being operated very successfully all over the world. Third, food and culture course. Take the Food and Culture Academy in South Korea and Italy Food and Language course as examples. Participants can learn to cook traditional food and having recipe exchange activities as well as learning its language and culture, such as table manner and table settings. So all these successful examples demonstrate that our call to action is feasible to develop.
Eating has an important role in our culture, but recently our eating habits have changed due to being focused on other things like social media. We are forgetting our traditional culture and losing respect for the people around us. There is no interactions during meals, and we believe that we have been not practicing our traditional cultures. So, what we propose here is manor meals. Manor meal is to have a weekly sit-down lunches at school with teachers and students. This group of people can share their cultures during their meals, learn about their culture, as well as learn the right postures and what to say before and after a meal. So ultimately, it leads to eating correctly. Now, Nui is going to talk about what we need to execute these plans.
For what we need of all activities, as you can see, the first thing is research information, because it would be up to the student and staff to research the traditional eating about your own culture, and it would be the most important thing. The next thing is facility. We need many facility for this activity, such as a place to eat. It can be a cafeteria, a canteen, or a classroom that allow to eat. The next one that we need is a teacher, because teacher is the most important person to teach the student the real manner and the best thing to do. And the next thing we need is camera. We need a camera to film a video, to put it up on YouTube, to share with the people around the world the manners of our country. And the next thing we need is food, because we have to eat, especially traditional food of your own country. The last thing we need is traditional eating requirements, because every country, every culture is different. For example, I'm from Thailand. We traditionally sit on the floor and eat. So for me, I don't need chair or table. So this is all we need. So the next thing is gonna be steps.
The end goal is, so this call to action is to get the students into a habit of eating like their tradition intended them to. So how do we get there? Well, first, we need to make sure that the teachers are sitting within the tables to also participate with the students. Secondly, we will also suggest the first meals will be free, or the students bring their own meals. It's like a potluck. Thirdly, because the majority of us are attached to our phones as if it's glued to our hands, we propose an idea in which we promote this idea on social media. Lastly, like we mentioned previously, students would be able to educate themselves on proper posture, their proper sayings, use of cutlery, and other various things. So I guess you're wondering, well, can't there be some difficulties to this? And there has to be solutions to this. My good friend Rory will explain here. So, Rory, what if people don't want to participate in this?
Well, we're not really anticipating many people not wanting to join in. Well, because it's free food. And who doesn't want to be in fun, food, and friendship?
Well, I see you've proven my point there. But what about facilities? Like, some schools don't have the cafeterias, or they don't even have the group to eat their food in.
Well, that's a very good point. But many schools have a home or core classroom which students and teachers could host this event in. The teachers could sit down and supervise the students during this lunchtime.
Yet again, you've proven my point. But how would the school get the money for this? Surely the school wouldn't fund for this.
Well, a majority of schools have a school uniform of some kind. You could host a civilian dress day or a free dress day in which students could bring their own civilian clothing or free dress, and they would just need to donate a small amount, such as like 100 yen or $1.
Very good. I'm out of questions.
So now, why do we need manner meals? Why do we need to sit down at the table and practice our manners? Well, as my teammate said, we're losing our culture. So what these manner meals will be offering is a chance to retrieve those traditional habits and practice them. Those traditional habits that we didn't know about, which leads me to my next point. People have been losing these traditional habits because they haven't been communicating about them. And again, that's when the manner meals comes in. They give us a chance to communicate with the teachers and amongst ourselves as students to learn not only about our native cultures, but also about cultures around the world. And also, you get free food. I mean, what more do you need? Free food. And you get to participate in the 3 Fs, fun, food, and friends, and friendship. And also, because the school will be hosting this thing, I'm sure the school also wants some benefits. Well, this will also be increasing the reputation of the school, since it will show that the school values the cultures, the various cultures of their students. Also, students can get credits for participating in these manner meals, which can contribute to their application towards school captain or class captain. So this manner meals is really convenient, and I think it can really help in retrieving our traditional habits. And if you still have some doubts about the practicality of this idea, Mira is now going to give you a few examples where this has been implemented and successful.
Okay, so we have 2 examples here. The first one is from Australia, where a few years ago, St. Paul's School ran an external program depot/etiquette class and students were able to attend it. And the class taught the students some basic manners, for example, some basic manners and other cultural etiquettes that have been lost in today's society. The class was actually said to be useful. And so for the second example, it's from Japanese elementary schools and junior high schools. And there the students eat lunch together in a classroom with their teacher, and the teacher is there to set an example to the students. So, for example, they learn to say "itadakimasu" before the meal and "gochisousama" after the meal. And the students have actually really liked this system and found it to be useful.
Well, after hearing this presentation, we hope that we have retained this call to action, because we want you guys to bring them back to your countries, families, and schools.
Making sure we incorporate all the aspects of culture via public education classes, festivals that gather our families, and meals that embrace the traditional eating habits. This is what will revive our nation's cultures.
The benefits of this call to action are to rebuild quality with family, to create open-mindedness, to learn history and tradition and culture, and create friendships that students can learn through sit-down meals where they can learn manners that each culture developed while eating meals.
By having these festivals, we are not just only creating bonds within the family, but bringing the culture that we have lost throughout time back into our homes.
The idea of public culture education classes is to help the larger audience as possible and educate them on culture from each region. The goal of this call to action is to teach children about food, which plays a big role in life, as well as teaching them to preserve culture in mind.
Like we mentioned in our last call to action, having sit-down meals together as a class will teach children and young teens and adults to respect their peers sitting around them and not just to look at their phone that is practically glued to their hands 24/7.
The importance of this call to action is to rebuild and expand our learning on our cultures by implementing them into our daily lives.
We hope you will pledge with us to act upon all these calls to actions in your schools, your communities, and your families.
To end, we would like to leave you with a quote from Mahatma Gandhi. A nation's culture resided in the heart and in the soul of its people.
Thank you.
Thank you.
"25 minutes. Hello, we are the culture team. It was really interesting to see at the beginning of this process. We really struggled to blend together and work together as a team, and we all had different viewpoints. But we quickly found our groove, and we were able to come together and work on everything together and create a great process or a great presentation. I wouldn't trade any one of my members with another member. I've learned to become great friends with all of them, and I had a great time working with all of them. On the presentation side, yesterday we struggled with time, but this morning we were able to cut 10 minutes out of it, and it was great, and everything went great. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm really proud of my team. They are such great colleagues and everything went really well, even though we have some issues, but together we could overcome them. And I'm really proud to say that I was in this team. Like, it really made me feel like a better person, this teamwork. Like, it really opened your horizons, and I really thank you for giving me and giving the whole team this occasion, because it really makes me feel like I'm a different person now. So thank you very much.
Domo arigato.